Hey, what was that? Oh, that's the microphone. Microphone's getting in the way. Let me sit a little closer. I got. This is only fans of football segment. I don't know why. Probably because I'm a fucking cuss. More than the BDE. Speaking of BDE, how you doing? How you doing? Looking good. Looking good. Man, he works out. Got David with me. Always got Dave with me. He's a distraction, but try to stay focused. But yeah, only fans of football. We got the little the sign right there. It's the circle, X'd out because it's for adults only. You know, it's a caution sign. Like be careful. And then we got FF. You know, two Fs. Kind of just doing a little 69 action right there. Just making love. Yeah, get in there real deep, like. That's hot. That's fucking hot. Let's go. Alphabet letters, just making more alphabet letters. That's how we get a bigger alphabet. We're not going to stop at 26. Not with the way these F's are fucking. I'm going to talk about quarterbacks in this class. I'm going to try to make this one short. I don't have a lot to say. There's not like a lot of metrics. No graphics, I don't think. She's going to go over just looking at research and saying some shit. I probably should do graphics. I don't fucking know. I think I'm just being lazy on this one. So QB's drafted the last 5 years that I think some of these quarterbacks have better profiles or project as better NFL quarterbacks than is so I'm gonna name quarterbacks that were like drafted, say when they were drafted, like what pick they wore, based off the pick you should know the round, and the main quarterbacks I'm talking about in this year's draft that I think project better than these is Jackson Dart, Quinn Ewers, Kyle McCord, and Jalen Milroe. And so, yeah, last year you had Bo Nix at 12. Bo Nix is a tricky one because the offense and the depth of target. I mean, he wasn't bad at Auburn. Some people give him a bad rap at Auburn, but I'm not going to. He's a little bit more mobile than people gave him credit for. But he really went hard his last year at Oregon. 77% completion percentage. That's back-to-back years with 70% completion percentage. He was 71.9, basically 72% in 2022. 3,500 yards, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 165 rating. But in 2023, 77%, 4,500, 45 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. That is one thing that you kind of see consistent with some of these quarterbacks that go. Just to tell you, Kyle McCord this past year, it's I guess in 2023 with Ohio State he had 65.8, 66% completion percentage, 3,200 yards basically, 24 touchdowns and 6 interceptions for a 161 rating. This past year with Syracuse it was 66% completion percentage. His completion percentage went up slightly, but I rounded it to 66. It was 65.8. This time it's 66 flat. Almost 4,800 yards passing, 47.79, 34 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, a 148 rating. He only has 2 years of starting experience. Now, Bo Nix was 24 years old and had basically 5 years of starting quarterback experience. So, Kyle McCord's still growing, still developing. If he went another year, and that's a transfer. He was at Ohio State and then went to Syracuse. That's a new school, new offense, new coaches, new environment, new receivers, new offensive line. It's just new everything. Jackson Dart he played at two different schools too. He started like half the year at USC his freshman year, and then he spent 3 years at Ole Miss. Um, in 2023, he had 65% completion percentage, 3,300 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 162 rating. Bo Nick did not take sacks. I will say that. He was only sacked 5 times in 2022. I mean, each year at Oregon, he was sacked 5 times. That's something that right off Jump Street I'm kind of seeing. All right, Daniel Jones was Kyle McCord was sacked 27 times at Syracuse. Jackson Dart was sacked 27 times in 2023 and 28 times. Anyways, in 2024, it's 69% completion percentage for Jackson Dart, 4,200, 29 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, sacked 28 times and 180 rating. Quinn Ewers probably is the worst, but 2022, 69% completion percentage, that's good. 3,500 yard, well, 3,479. 8.8 average, that's pretty low. That's one of the lowest out of all these quarterbacks. 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, sacked 27 times, 158.6 rating. In 2024, 65.8% completion percentage, 3,472 yards. Lowered his average by a yard. He went from 8.8 to 7.8. But he did have 31 touchdowns. He also had 12 picks and a lower quarterback rating at 149. There's almost no rushing upside with him either. With Jackson Dart, he rushed for 495 yards in 2024, 3 touchdowns, 391 yards for 8 touchdowns in 2023, and he hit 600 yards in 2022. Kyle McCord, not a runner either. Jalen Milroe, he was basically only a 2-year starter. In 2023, he had 65.8% completion percentage for 2,800 yards, 23 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. He was sacked 44 times. That's crazy. I wonder if like any negative run or something counts as that. I don't know. That just sounds like a lot. Anyways, 172 rating. This past year in 2024, he had a 64% completion percentage for 2,800 yards again, 16 touchdowns to 11 picks, only sacked 23 times this time, but 148.8 rating. Now, he did have 700 yards rushing for 20 touchdowns this past year. And in 2023, he had 500 yards for 12 touchdowns. All right, Kyle McCord was 8.1 average. Jackson Dart was 10.8. Jalen Milroe was 8.9. This is all for 2024. So I guess we'll do Tyler Shuck next. A lot of people have seen that of him. He played 6 years. He was at Oregon, at Texas Tech, and at Louisville. I forgot he was at Oregon. Holy shit. He was at Oregon with Justin Herbert. That's right. I forgot about that. I guess after Justin Herbert left, he was the starter. He had a 63.5% completion percentage for 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns, 6 interceptions for 160 rating. Then he goes to Texas Tech. I think he gets injured again. None of these are like complete seasons. But in Louisville, he finally had a complete season. But I do believe he was the starter. Ever since 2020, he was named the starter to start the year. And so he was named starting quarterback at 3 different schools. 5 years in a row at 3 different schools. Let's say it that way. 2020 at Oregon, 2021 at Texas Tech, 2022 at Texas Tech, 2023 at Texas Tech, 2024 at Louisville. He was named starting quarterback at the start of each one of those years. But he did not finish the starting quarterback, I don't think, any of those years. Except Louisville. So he had 62% completion percentage for 3,200 yards, 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions for 148 rating. So where I'm going with this is essentially to show how they grade or project compared to other QB prospects. Now, Kenny Pickett, his last year at Pitt, He was kind of game busters. He was like a one-hit wonder. I mean, like in 2021, he gets 67% completion percentage for 4,300 yards, 42 touchdowns, 7 interceptions for a 165 rating. Before that, he had 13 touchdowns with 9 picks 2 years in a row. He had a 7.3 average, 6.6 average. That jumps up to an 8.7 average. Now, Jordan Addison, the Biletnikoff winner, is there for this year. But that's kind of what got him put on the map. If we go Zach Wilson, same thing, a one-hit wonder. He was, in 2020, 73.5% completion percentage for 3,700 yards, an 11-yard average, so he's throwing it downfield. 33 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, a 196 rating, and he had rushing. He had 10 rushing touchdowns, 254 yards with 10 rushing touchdowns. The year before that, he had 11 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. 62% completion percentage. So definitely moved up a lot that year. Mitchell Trubisky in 2016 at North Carolina, 68% completion percentage, 3,700 yards, 3,750. 30 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 158 rating. This is a lot of numbers not to have graphics. Let me get to the main one that really irks me. Anthony Richardson, because that's the comparable to Jalen Milroe. And Daniel Jones, I guess, too. Daniel Jones and Jordan Love are pretty bad as well. Jordan Love did have some rushing. He rushed a little bit. Alright. Anthony Richardson basically started 1 year. 53.8% completion percentage. 53.8. 2,500 yards, 7.8 yard average, 7 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, 131 rating. He had 654 yards rushing for 9 touchdowns. So Jalen Milroe. Where's Anthony? Jalen Milroe wins in completion percentage. He wins in yards. He wins in average. He loses in touchdowns. He threw 1 less touchdown. He also loses in picks. He threw 2 more picks. He had a higher quarterback rating, though. 148 to 131. He also had more rushing yards and more rushing touchdowns. Milroe had 726 with 20 touchdowns. Anthony Richardson had 654 for 9. But he did have a better average, 6.3 yard average. And he had an 81 and 80 yard long. 80 was in the year before. 81 was this year. Jalen Milroe's got a 72, and then another year he had a 77. So, I mean, he's busting it too. Anthony Richardson was the same athlete. I'm curious how Jalen Milroe would have graded. He didn't run at the combine, but I do know Jalen Milroe was more durable. And I don't think he'd sit out because he was tired. I'm tired, boss. He say he tired. State of Mississippi don't care about your meteorological assessments. All right, we need a ditch cleared by sundown. Say he tired. Tired? It's hot. So that's Life if you don't know. It's a good movie. Check it out. It's fucking hilarious. Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence at their best. So Will Levis. Will Levis is the main one. Kuiper loved Will Levis. That's funny. This is where I kind of throw Quinn Ewers, Jackson Dart, Kyle McCord in there. I look at recency. Kenny Pickett a little bit. Kenny Pickett had the stats. I mean, he had the production that one season. Zach Wilson. Trey Lance, too. Trey Lance a little weird. He had 1,000 yards rushing and 14 touchdowns. 67% completion percentage. 28 touchdowns, no interceptions. But it's North Dakota State. And a super small sample size. Like 14 games or something is all he started. Because the other season he got injured. It was COVID, 2020. He played 1 game, I guess, this season. But Will Levis, he had 65% completion percentage, 2,400 yards, 19 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, 151 rating. The year before he had 149 rating, but he had 24 touchdowns to 13 interceptions for 2,800 yards. So I could paint a picture with Quinn Ewers. You can paint a picture with anyone, really. I didn't do Jordan Love. Jordan Love had his last season at Utah State. Now, the year before, he was good. He had 64% completion percentage, 3,500 yards, 32 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, 158 rating. He only got sacked 9 times, 63 yards rushing. But in 2019, it was 62% completion percentage, 3,400 yards, 20 touchdowns to 17 interceptions, 129 rating. That's probably the Jackson Dart comparison due to the mobility kind of, although Jackson Dart definitely runs for more yards. Quinn Ewers isn't mobile at all, doesn't run for shit, although he did have positive yards in 2023. That's crazy. So I don't know. I really don't know how to assess Quinn. Quinn has more potential than a lot of these dudes. Just because of arm talent, because of the lack of football. Like I said, he skipped his senior season. He only played half of his junior season. So he basically was a starter. Did he start as a freshman? I'm not sure he started as a freshman either. I thought I had Quinn's bio up on one of these. I don't. That's a shame. Let's pull it up. Let's get Quinn's assessment right quick. Quinny Poo. He's 21 years old. He's about to be 22. His birthday's March 15th. As a 6th grader, he was offered a scholarship by Graham Harrell. Was he at Texas Tech at that time? What year was that? It doesn't say a year. He was a 6th grader. Maybe North Texas? He was at North Texas 2016, 2018. 6th grader. Huh. So he was in the 2021 class. That would have been his senior year. So I guess subtract. So what? 2018, he's a freshman, and then what? You got 8th, 7th, 6th. So 2015. Yeah, I guess he might have been North Texas. That's crazy. As a high school sophomore, so I guess he started as a sophomore. So he started his sophomore year, and then just played half of his junior year. So he had, I don't know, he went pretty deep in the playoffs. But what it said, he missed it. He had 8 games as a junior. Okay, as a sophomore, it doesn't really say how many, but he lost in the quarterfinals. He managed 6th place in the Elite 11. That's not good. Typically, but the Elite 11 is kind of biased sometimes, but I do use that as a barometer. Big fan of the Elite 11. But it is getting weirder and weirder each year. And then like On3, Sports Illustrated, 247, they cover it, and they all kind of have their different winner. The Elite 11 can't pick a winner, but it's usually different than. I mean, all 3 of the people that cover it, they have different winners usually. None of them really have the same. So it's kind of funny. So people definitely see it different, or they take different events and hold it to a higher standard. They kind of do a pro day workout at one, They do targets at another. They do 7-on-7 at another, and fuck, I don't know. They do a couple different fucking things though, and there's like 7 different events. I think there's 2 events each day. It's roughly like 3 or 4 days. And you get Alpha Dog or whatever when you win an event. Anywho, so he hasn't been quarterback a lot of games. I mean, between high school, yeah, he might have had like 20, 22 starts, and then in college he's had 36 starts. So he's had like 58 starts between high school and college, which is shit. Bo Nix had that in college alone. Shit, Jackson Dart might have too. It doesn't show all that shit, does it? Let's see. Anyway, yeah, he's still a little inexperienced. He's still growing, I think. But yeah, he could have played way better. I like the fact that he brought UT back. I mean, when you think of where UT was when he showed up there, I think his first year there they went 6-4. They were about 6-4 with Hudson Card the year before, and then they, last season in the Big 12, they win the Big 12. Big fuck you to Brett Yormark. They made the 14 playoff, and then they make the playoff again. They make a conference championship again. First season SEC, they play Georgia, they lose. But still, great season. Had the best regular season record in the SEC. They only had one SEC loss. That was to Georgia. And it was a bad loss, but they played Georgia much better in the SEC championship and should have won. Fake punt after you had their punter injured. That was just a letdown by Jeff Banks. I don't know what the fuck he was doing. And then, the quarterback that came in, he made some fucking plays. Yeah, he did good. Took a hit from Makuba. Holy shit, Makuba lit him up. We had an interception, man. That should have went for a touchdown. We had a fumble at halftime, right before halftime. That possibly should have went for a touchdown. It was so close to getting 2 defensive scores. I think we had a missed field goal or a couple missed field goals. I mean, honestly, we probably should have won the game, but it's not about shoulda, coulda, woulda. We lost. Fuck it. But I think that's big. I think back-to-back conference championships, or conference championship games, winning the Big 12, your last season in, dealing with all that hate that we got from all the fans and all the fucking teams or whatever for leaving the Big 12 and blah, blah, blah. Then dealing with all the Arch Manning shit. And he legitimately brought Texas back. I mean, there's a lot of pressure playing for Texas. So, kudos to him. Obviously, he could have played better, but Kyle McCord, coincidentally, who they both showed up at Ohio State in 2021 as 5-star recruits when Ewers leaped him in the rankings after he reclassified. He was number 1 overall in the 2022 class, but being a little eager to earn some money and get out of high school football and get started on his professional career as a paid athlete, he went to Ohio State a little early, kind of unexpectedly. Ryan Day didn't know what the fuck to do with him. And Kyle McCord was in that class as a fellow 5-star, and shit, he was highly rated. I don't think he was the number 1 quarterback in the class before Ewers, but yeah, he was good. He played a little bit as a true freshman. 65% completion percentage for 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. But he really didn't start playing until after C.J. Stroud left. And that was in 2023 when he took over the starting gig. Did okay, but everyone expected better with Marvin Harrison, Egbuka, Carnell Tate, Brandon Enos. He had some weapons, and I guess they were a little disappointed, so they thought they could upgrade. They let him go to Syracuse. So a new situation, new offense, new team. I mean, almost 5,000 yards, 34 touchdowns. I mean, he went gangbusters. Now he's a little loosey-goosey with the ball. He has no fear. He definitely is confident. He trusts his arm. He has no problem challenging a defense or giving his receiver an opportunity. He will throw it up to Ronda Gatson often, and Ronda Gatson, uh, I lost the phrase, but yeah, he uh, he took full advantage of those opportunities. He paid him back by scoring, and that's what it was. He paid him back. Maybe that wasn't the right phrase, anyways. That's probably why I couldn't think of it. But yeah, he he definitely didn't regret it sometimes. But then he did regret it sometimes. He would throw into coverage. He'd throw to deep safeties. But sometimes you draw flags. I mean, he's definitely one of those guys. He's just he wants to go out there and make a play. He's gonna let it rip. Jackson Dart, man, he had a fucking meltdown against Florida. Against Florida. He had an opportunity to possibly get in the SEC championship game. They were right there, and I swear he finished with 2 picks, but I feel like 3 of his last 4 passes were intercepted, but 2 of them didn't count. There was penalties, and I think it was challenged, and one of them was cut out of bounds. I don't know, and then one did count, and it iced the game. But I swear he threw like 3 interceptions. I have to go back and look at it. It was a complete meltdown, and to be honest with you, I kind of wanted to write him off after that. Against Kentucky, cost him a game too, taking a sack, knocking him out of field goal range. He had a couple. He had 4 downs basically to gain like 5 yards, and he just threw it deep twice, and then took a sack on 3rd down. It's like, so now you're going for it on 4th down. You're out of field goal range, and it's like that was annoying. So he's young too, though. He's actually the youngest, I think, out of most of these quarterbacks. He's not even 22 yet. But he has a lot of fucking experience, more experience than Colin McCourt and Quinn Ewers. I've been a 3-year start at Ole Miss and starting some games at USC. Some people wanted to say that he was in an easy offense. Lane Kiffin made it easy. They didn't really have to go through progressions or whatever. That it was basically single reads and stuff, and everything was kind of schemed to get wide receivers open and to make it easy for processing, so he can make quick, fast decisions, get the ball out of his hand, and keep the defense under pressure. They ran a lot of no huddle too. Didn't allow the defenses to change their personnel or whatever, and so people want to hold that against them a lot of time, and I get it, but it also takes a smart QB to do that, especially with a no huddle. When you're doing shit on the fly. But I mean, he would look to the sideline. He would get the play call and stuff. A no huddle just means you're not huddling up. It doesn't mean you're really going fast. Will Howard, he had a pretty good career at Kansas State. Goes to Ohio State. Does mediocre, but god damn did he end the season well. I mean, he saved the best for last for sure. He didn't have one 300-yard game all season. He did get 292 against Western Michigan. Oh no, 326 against Oregon. So in the loss, he played really fucking good in that loss. Then the playoff starts. Tennessee plays really fucking good. Oregon plays really fucking good and kills them and beats them this time. Texas plays pretty fucking good. That was his worst game in the playoff. Texas is a good defense, though. What are you going to do? I mean, from QBR and quarterback rating standpoint, it was his worst. He still had a 90 QBR, though. 72% completion percentage for 289 yards. It's not like he played bad. By no means. Killed Notre Dame, though. I mean, just fucking was on point. He might be QB 3 or 4. I don't know. If he brings how he ended the year, if that's the Will Howard that we see going forward, yeah, he could be fucking special. Didn't have great passing stats. He was kind of mobile at Kansas State. He got some rushing, but there wasn't a lot of talent at Kansas State, so he didn't really do a lot there. But in his one season at Ohio State, maybe it just took him a while to get going, to adapt to the offense and stuff. Had a lot of young receivers with Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, shit like that. Obviously had at Buka, but I mean Jeremiah Smith kind of hit the ground running, but Carnell Tate was kind of hit and miss throughout the year. Anyways, Riley Leonard, he had a great 2022 season at Duke. Redshirt freshman, true sophomore season, 63% completion, 64% completion, 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. That's pretty good. He had also like 700 yards rushing for 13 touchdowns. Got injured in 2023, kind of set him back. So he transfers to Notre Dame. Has his highest completion percentage of his career at 66.7, basically 67%, 2,800 yards, 21 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, only 139 rating. I guess because his average is 7.1, he really didn't throw it downfield. He took 20 sacks too. He also had 900 yards rushing for 17 touchdowns. So he's a legit dual threat. I don't think he ran at the combine, but would have been curious how fast he was, or if those were just good designed runs. He got Tyler Shuck, the 6-year starter. I already went over his stats and stuff. But yeah, I think every one of these, especially Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart, and Kyle McCord, could be really good. Quinn Ewers is younger than Milroe and younger than Kyle McCord. Obviously younger than Riley Leonard and Will Howard. Is he younger than Riley Leonard? I feel like he is. But he's played less football than probably any of them. So that is something too. And he went to the school that probably had the most work to do. I mean, Bo Nix was at Oregon kind of just dominating. I mean, 77% completion percentage shit. I don't know why I threw Bo Nix in there. I guess I'm comparing him to last year, but no, Kyle McCord was at Syracuse. Of course, at Ohio State, but Syracuse he had work to do. Will Howard, he went to Ohio State, and yeah, clearly he shined. I googled the wrong fucking person. Riley Leonard's 22. His birthday will be September. So it's not. He's kind of in there. Quinn was about to turn 22. He's not 22 yet. And I think Jalen Milroe just turned. Or maybe he's 22 and a half. His birthday was December, so he just turned 22. So they're all basically 22. Riley is the oldest. He'll be the first to turn 22. Dart's the youngest. He'll be the last to turn 22. Out of that group. And then, how old is Kylie? Now, I'm throwing that out there. Yeah, he'll turn 23 in September too. Him and Riley Leonard are basically the same age. I'm throwing that out there because Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Spencer Rattler, hell, even Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams turned 23 November 18th, so I guess he was 22. I thought he was a little older. Jaden Daniels, though, I mean, all of them had a lot of starting experience. Were old as fuck, like 5th-year seniors. All these people are pretty much true seniors when you talk about Kyle McCord, Jackson Dart, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe, and Riley Leonard. They only play or were only in college 4 years. Now Tyler Shuck was in there a minute. Will Howard in there a little bit. Dylan Gabriel, he was in there a minute. Dylan is Dylan the oldest? No, Tyler's the oldest. Dylan's actually not that old, I think. He's got 24 years old. They don't have his birthday. Actually, December 28th. So he just turned 24. That's not that bad, actually, considering he's been playing college football since 2019 when he started at UCF. 3 schools. I mean, he gets around, dog. So Kenny Pickett was a 5th-year senior. Will Levis, I guess, was a true senior. I feel like Will Levis was old too. He's about to turn 26. So in 2023, he'd have been 23, I guess. About to turn 24. He would have turned 24 in June his rookie year, I guess. Yeah, because he had a redshirt year. So, yeah, redshirt freshman year, 2018, then 2019, 20, 21, 22. Yeah, so, yeah, I thought he had a redshirt year. It wasn't on ESPN. I guess he didn't play at all. Oh, that's funny. I just saw something popped up said his ex girlfriend. There was that chick that was with him on draft night, and I remember her. I was like, oh shit, that's yeah. But like that ain't gonna work out. So I think Jalen Milroe compares better than Anthony Richardson. I think he compares similarly to Jalen Hurts. I actually didn't pull Jalen Hurts up. That's weird. I forgot about Jalen Hurts. Daniel Jones and I think Will Levis would be kind of more the Jackson Dart because of the mobility. But Jackson Dart is way younger. Jordan Love maybe is Jackson Dart too, but Jackson Dart is probably more mobile than both of those maybe. Riley Leonard, it's tough to say. I mean, 900 yards rushing, but he's not the athlete of Anthony Richardson. Maybe Bo Nix is a good comparison for him. Jackson Dart, maybe Bo Nix is a good comparison for. I don't know. I will say with the talent that Quinn Ewers had around him, and then Steve Sarkisian. Although I'm not sure Steve Sarkisian isn't a little overrated. Don't get me wrong, he's an offensive genius. He's great at scripting. His scripts, his fucking first 20, 25 plays is game busters. How he scouts and gets ready for a team and his prediction of what to expect or, whatever he decides to do early in the game fucking works. He is the best game scripter I've ever seen. But damn, I'm getting distracted reading articles. Let's minimize this shit. Get rid of all this shit. Let's just look at the camera. We're done. We're done with the research. But man, how you don't? You find out Xavier Worthy runs a 4.21. You find out Matthew Golden runs a 4.29. A.D. Mitchell runs a 4.33. Isaiah Bonkin at 24 miles per hour. You got Ryan Wingo. You had JT Sanders. You got Gunnar Helm. 2 years in a row, you got fourth and goal to advance in a playoff or play for a national championship. And you can't fucking get a touchdown with that much talent. It wasn't Quinn Ewers' fault on that shit. It was just bad play. I mean, against Washington, 2 of them were a fade to A.D. Mitchell, which is just lazy. Like, why not have Xavier Worthy in motion running lateral? I mean, use A.D. Mitchell, have him go up, take the corner, do a post, maybe eat up a safety, and then on the opposite side of the field, have Xavier Worthy maybe run like a fucking drag or a little slant, get him going laterally where he can use his speed going across the field. They're going to be a man in that situation. You might have like a zone with the linebacker or something, but he ain't going to keep Worthy. If you can get AD to clear out that side of the field and then have Xavier Worthy coming across the field, boom, you got yourself a fucking touchdown, dog. It ain't that fucking hard. When you run a 4.21 40, 24.5 whatever miles per hour, like what the fuck, dog? So the Ohio State one, I don't know. It was annoying. We had it on the 1 fucking yard line. He bothers me. But shit like that just kind of shows his limitation as well. I mean, it's like all the talent there, and it's like maybe he wasn't the best for Quinn Ewers, Aside from having to build Texas back up, having to deal with the Arch Manning shit, there's definitely growing pains and just his lack of experience. There's definitely issues with them. His mechanics, he gets lazy on some balls. He doesn't square his shoulders. Like I'll see him fucking throw it out late on a screen when the pocket kind of collapses, and he kind of just stands still and just turns his shoulders. Doesn't really move his feet or really square up. And yeah, his pocket awareness too. How he lets the pocket collapse on to the point where he basically can't square up, like someone's stepping on his foot or someone's hitting him already. He has a late kind of, checking it down. He takes some unnecessary sacks. But he will stand in the pocket. He'll stand strong. He can deliver strikes. He can layer it all over the field. His deep ball definitely leaves a little bit to be desired. And he doesn't always, throw his fastball. Those are all fixable things. But he can throw from several different angles, effortlessly as fuck. He beautiful with touch. Throws a beautiful catchable ball. Beautiful spiral. Really accurate. And if he does this, it just is a little more disciplined with his feet, with his hips, making sure that, his shoulders are square, his hips turn, he, steps into it. He could be really good. And those are very fixable things. His throwing motion's good. You don't need to fix the throwing motion. He's got a very quick release, one of the quickest releases. No elongated motion, no wasted movement in it really. It's just a question of just consistency and pocket awareness, going through your progression in the deep ball. Is what I would really say with him. Kyle McCord, it's just not taking as many chances. It's a little harder to do Kyle McCord. I mean, I watched a lot of Quinn Ewers, first of all. I watched all of his games. But Kyle McCord, he had 1 year starting at Ohio State. Well, that's a very high-powered offense with a ton. I mean, you have Marvin Harrison, you have Ibuka, you have Carnell Tate, Brandon Enos, you had Julian Fleming, I think, that year, who was a top recruit but was really a bust. He never lived up to it. Did you have Gary Scott? Okay. Yeah, Kate Stover. Gary Scott's there now, or G. Smith or something. I don't know. But he did good, I think he goes to Syracuse, and it's not at all the same situation. And ACC isn't at all this, level of competition. And, he doesn't have Josh Simmons and Donovan Jackson and, blocking for him. He doesn't have Trayvon Henderson, although a lot of people do like LaQuint Allen as a running back, but he's a really good receiver, actually, LaQuint Allen. But he's got a fastball, Kyle McCord. He definitely has an arm. His motion's a little longer. Doesn't have the quicker release, but like I said, he's putting some oomph in it, so he really cocks that thing back, lets it rip. He's willing to let it rip, maybe to a fault. But that's coachable too. That comes with experience. I mean, he didn't have the most either. Jackson Dart. It's hard to talk about him because of the offense too with Lane Kiffin, but he's pretty accurate. He throws the ball downfield. He throws a good ball. He has a very good quick release. He's mobile. He can extend the pocket. He has good pocket awareness, escapability. He can extend plays. In that Florida game where he basically had a meltdown and, trying a little too hard against Kentucky when I feel like a field goal was easy to get. Playing for the tie was easy as fuck. But he was looking for the win. He was looking to get it on one play, it seemed like. I don't know. That, situational awareness, down and distance, clock, being okay going to overtime, or being okay settling for a field goal, things like that. When you want to win, you don't want to. I mean, I get it, but if it's between getting a field goal to tie or losing, take the fucking field goal and tie. Extend the game. You're the better team. You're the more talented team. You're playing fucking Kentucky. I think you're at home in that game. You will probably win in overtime. Yeah, it doesn't look great going to overtime against Kentucky. You know, an opportunity to win the game, and maybe it's an opportunity to look really good, but instead you made it look really bad. Other than that, though, he had a really good year. Initially struggled against Georgia, but ended up playing really good against Georgia. Or okay. I mean, 141 rating, 199 yards, 59% completion percentage, one touchdown, one pick. I think his very first pass was a pick. And then he gets injured, and then Austin Simmons comes in and actually plays really well, slows it down, and makes the game. I mean, Austin Simmons went 5 of 6 for 64 yards, 99.6 QBR. He led a touchdown scoring drive. I think he got it to the 1 yard, and Ulysses Bentley ran it in. I don't really remember, but he didn't get credit for throwing a touchdown, so I know he didn't throw for one, but he did throw for a couple clutch first downs. I think he went for it on fourth down one time and converted that. I mean, he was making plays. I'm excited to see Austin Simmons next year. Um, and that game was about to be out of hand. The defense made a play too, I think, to get on the ball. But actually, were they down 14 at that point in time? Damn, I wish. Where's Jackson Pooh? There he is. Let's go about play by play, I guess. Yeah, so it starts off an interception. Fucking fantastic. Then Georgia gets a touchdown. And yeah, Jackson Dart, I guess, got injured on the interception. So Austin Simmons comes in the next drive, 10 minutes in the first quarter, and he leads a touchdown scoring drive. Like, you throw an interception and Jackson Dart gets injured, that game could have got out of hand early. Instead, he ties it up, and Georgia doesn't score again until their first drive in the second half. Ole Miss finishes the half 16-7 with the lead. Goes on to win 28-10. What a fucking game. It was an awesome fucking game. Jalen Milroe's situation was a little weird. It's not easy, having to handle the transition, moving from Nick Saban, a fucking legend, the GOAT. I mean, Kellen DeBoer is great, and there's still tons of talent there, but still, it's different. So I'll give him that. And he played insane against Georgia. Holy shit. 374 yards, 81% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I remember that 75-yarder. Yeah, Georgia just tied it, I think, and he just airs it out to Ryan Williams for 75 yards right after a touchback. Is that what won it for him, actually? Let's see box score. Yeah, that was 2 minutes left. Georgia had finally taken the lead. It's 34-33. 2.5 minutes left. And like the first, just 13-minute drive. The very first play, 75 yards Ryan Williams. Like, they fought back so hard. It was 30-7 at halftime. And Georgia finally gets a 34-33 point lead. God damn, dog. That was a good game. There's some good fucking games this year. This expanded playoff, and the playoff had some good games too. I mean, some were blowouts for sure. I mean, the seeding is what's wrong, I think. Really. But overall, it was a good season in college football. The playoff was pretty good in my opinion. And I think some of these quarterbacks compare nicely or even favorably to some past first round, early second round quarterbacks. Jordan Love, Daniel Jones, Kenny Pickett. Mitch Trubisky had a good year at UNC, I guess, his last year. Only 30 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, but the resume's small. Daniel Jones, the same thing. He was a one-hit wonder kind of resume small. He still had 9 picks though. Trey Lance, resume was small. Anthony Richardson, it was awful. Will Levis regressed kinda. He had a decent 2021 year, but actually regressed in 2022. And he wasn't a first rounder, but he went kind of early second round, and a lot of people thought he was going to be a first rounder. Should have been. I mean, I will take Quinn Ewers, Kyle McCord, Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart over any of those quarterbacks as prospects. If my life depended on it. I mean, Anthony Richardson and Trey Lance are intriguing due to the athletic profile. And Trey Lance didn't throw a pick. He actually had a really productive year, but he's still just limited sample size, and it's North Dakota State. But, 67% completion percentage, 28 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, he's throwing the ball. You don't get 28 touchdowns without throwing the ball. He's throwing the ball. He's throwing the ball probably in the red zone a lot. I mean, the red zone is dangerous. The field shrinks. Safeties don't have to worry about over the top, so they can be a little bit more aggressive. But North Dakota State is dominant as hell. I mean, they kill Division I AA or the championship or whatever. I don't know. We got a playoff now, so whatever division it is that they're in. If Will Howard's a tricky one, man, because you have so much football from him. He's like the Bo Nix of this year, except Bo Nix at least did it for 2 years. And Bo Nix also threw no interceptions. I mean, threw 3 interceptions, 4,500 yards, 77% completion percentage, with only 3 picks. I mean, Will Howard did throw 10 interceptions, but yeah, the 73% completion percentage is sky high. 35 touchdowns, 9.5 yard average. So he's throwing it downfield for one of the first times. Of course, you got Jeremiah Smith, so it ain't hard. Yeah, I would not be surprised if there's a couple starters out of this next group of quarterbacks. And I actually got them rated higher, personally, than Shedeur Sanders. I got Shedeur Sanders as my QB4, actually. On my big board, I guess Cam Ward is QB number 1 at 35 overall. I got Jackson Dart at 57, Jalen Milroe at 58. I got Shedeur Sanders at 74th. Kyle McCord at 86. Quinn Ewers at 98 for 6 quarterbacks in my top 100. That's 6 in the first 2 days, because day 2 is the second, third round, and the third round basically ends at pick 100. There's usually 100 picks in the first 3 rounds. Talk about quarterback needy teams. They usually get overdrafted. I try to rate them, though, roughly. There's a little bit of boostedness in the position, but it's mainly boosted out of potential, not so much out of position. When I look at Quinn Ewers, when I look at Jalen Milroe, I feel like there's so much potential with those two. When you look at Jackson Dart, there's a lot of production, but you got to question the offense. But his mobility and stuff, I still like him. Cam Ward is QB1, but he's far from a can't miss or a home run. I don't even have him listed in the first round, but I like his arm. I like his big playability. He's mobile. He makes people miss. He extends the play, but he does it with the intent to go downfield or make kind of good plays. I like him a lot better than Caleb Williams in that situation. I like him better than Shedeur Sanders in that situation. Shedeur Sanders' arm strength leaves a lot to be desired. He's accurate, but he's not accurate, I guess. I saw him miss a lot of throws watching Travis Hunter's tape. Travis Hunter had one of the highest catch rates as far as targets to catches percentage. When you watch his tape, a lot of the ones he missed weren't even catchable. I mean, he didn't give him a chance, and that's where Cam Ward and Kyle McCord, they will always give your guy a chance. And when you got someone like Travis Hunter, when you watch his tape, you'll see that motherfucker fights. He fights, and he makes plays, and he draws penalties because he fights. So then the DB's got to fight, and they usually get flagged. I mean, he creates a lot. He is a quarterback's best friend. All you got to do is throw it up. And he would sometimes, but sometimes it's like he's throwing it away or something. I don't know. And he looked for him a lot, but then there'd be other times where it's like he's wide open and he's not even looking for him. But I'm not gonna act like he didn't look for him. He looked for him a lot. A lot of times he's scrambling. It's like he's ignoring everyone else but Travis Hunter. So I get it. Um, but it's worrisome that he really hasn't played for anyone other than his dad. I know playing for your dad can be like the hardest thing, but in Trinity or whatever in Texas, his dad was his offensive coordinator for 3 years. He wasn't the head coach, but he ran the offense, and I doubt the head coach would have told Deion Sanders what the fuck to do, and would have really got on Deion Sanders' son too much with Deion Sanders being there and Deion Sanders being who he is. But I don't know that dynamic. I'm not gonna act like the coach wouldn't coach. But Deion Sanders went from offensive coordinator to being a head coach in college football, so I imagine he had a big say and a lot to do. But yeah, he goes to Jackson State. He ends up taking over because they have like a weird season where they was canceled for COVID, but they decided to play it in the second half. So he was able to coach his son in high school and then leave that and go straight to coaching Jackson State. He was head coach for like a couple months before he starts coaching his first season. So then his son is basically the starting quarterback his second year, but this is all within the same calendar year. That's funny, right? Like Jackson State played 2 seasons that year. I don't remember what year it was. It 2020. I guess it would have been 2021. Then they canceled it in 2020. I don't know. I have to look it up. But yeah, so he's at Jackson State. Plays good. I mean, he's got to go out there. He's got to make plays. He's got to do it. But he was like a 3-star recruit, which I thought was wrong because I think he took Trinity like a 3A state title, 4A state title. Like you win any state title in the state of Texas, man. You're all right. I mean, you've been challenged. You've played some blue blood programs. You played some perennial powerhouses. I mean, no state title in the state of Texas. 1A, TAPS. TAPS might be a little okay. We don't really do private schools down here, but that's starting to change. But yeah, you earn that shit. You definitely get tested. You play good competition, but I don't think he was in a tough district. But still, once you go to the playoffs, you're playing, I mean, some of the best teams in the country. But no one's gonna take care of you. No one's gonna care for you like your dad. You're gonna look at your dad and respect your dad differently. You're gonna take things from your dad differently. And the fact that he really hasn't been coached by anyone else, I'm not sure how he's gonna handle that. I'm not sure that he's a starting quarterback or that he has this career without his dad. So his dad definitely gave him the opportunity and helped him and kind of carried him along the way. But that being said, Shedeur had to go out there and make the plays, and he did that. He deserves everything that he's getting. But the red flag for me is that how is he going to handle criticism from someone other than his dad? Is he going to trust them? Is he going to listen to them? I don't know if he's really been coached. And by anyone outside of his dad, and that I'm sure he had a quarterback coach. I mean, Deion was a DB, so I'm sure there's a quarterback coach. But the dynamic when your dad's on the staff, your dad decides who the quarterback coach is and can fire him. I mean, it's a power move. I mean, he definitely had the upper hand, or had I don't say nepotism, but it's going to be different than NFL. Let's just put it that way. I mean, your dad's going to give you a longer leash. Your dad sure might bench you, but the depth chart ain't changing. In NFL, the depth chart changes. So I'm just curious about some of that. And the arm strength isn't the best. Processing isn't the best. He holds the ball a little too long. I mean, you gotta grade him on something. You gotta look at the film. You gotta. I'm just saying what I see. I'm not trying to hate, but I feel like his ceiling is lower than a lot of these guys just because of the arm talent. And he's also 23.3 years old or whatever. He will be at draft time, so he's a little older. He's got a lot of football under his belt. And that's where his dad did him a favor and came in handy. Like I said, his dad kind of carried him. I mean, obviously he earned the job in high school, but he wasn't heavily recruited. He might not have ever been recruited or been seen as a starting quarterback. Probably would have never got a shot in college as a starting quarterback if it wasn't for his dad. And then even if he did, I mean, to move up in competition or to go from like Division II or junior college, to go from Jackson State basically to Power 5, I don't know that opportunity would have been there available to him. I damn sure wouldn't have been if he wasn't a starting quarterback at Jackson State or at some equivalent school. And his dad was also able to recruit talent and kind of build talent around him, and then that talent kind of followed him too. So you got Travis Hunter, number one overall recruit and one of the most dynamic players, following you. He's able to get him Will Shepard and Jimmy Horn Jr. and I mean, he was able to get an offensive line in year 2 at Colorado. He was able to recruit a 5-star in Jordan Seaton. Not only wrong, every coach, every GM is going to want to set him up to succeed, but the leash, the understanding, the trust, all that's going to be different than it was with your dad. I mean, you're going to believe and trust your dad has your best intentions. I mean, your dad loves you. Likewise, you love and respect your dad, so you're going to handle the information or the feedback or the criticism different. Yeah, playing for your father is hard, but after all through high school and all through college, you probably got used to it. You probably if you didn't like it, you would have quit football a long time ago and it wouldn't have worked out. So it wasn't that damn hard is what I'm saying. Y'all worked it out. Y'all figured out the dynamic. It's like working with your wife. It doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. I mean, sometimes you make the kid hate you. Sometimes you make the kid hate playing sports. Make the kid just quit. It's not worth it. And sometimes you get what you got with Deion and Shedeur, and you basically get a chip off the old block or a successful heir, I guess, to the football legacy. And he had older brothers too who already kind of dealt with their dad in coaching because they played DB. I don't know if Deion Sanders Jr. did, but Shiloh played DB, so I imagine Deion was probably harder on him than Shedeur. And plus he's older, usually harder on the older ones. So I think Shedeur benefited also by that. Seeing how his brothers went through it, and Deion, going through it with his brothers, having more experience by the time he goes through it with Shedeur. So, but yeah, the NFL. No, they could go out and just hire his dad, and he's back in the same situation. That's cool, but yeah, I don't know, the ceiling, the situation, his experience as a quarterback has just been different than everyone else's. The pressure on him has been a little less, in my opinion. I know Colorado got a lot of flack, but most of that was on Deion. I don't think Shedeur had to deal with too much of that pressure initially, and your dad's a confident individual, and he's a winner. I mean, he probably felt fine. He's like, Dad's going to figure it out. And yeah, his dad did. His dad went out and got Travis Hunter and brought him with him to Colorado, got him to follow him. He went out and got a couple 5-star recruits, although Cormani McClain didn't work out. Went out and got him offensive line. Went out and got, Will Shepard and some wide receivers. Because he was Deion Sanders, he was recruiting basically the best talent or compiling the best team that, HBIC or historically black college schools weren't, getting at that time. What was that conference called? The NCAA Division One football champion subdivision. Let's see. Southwest Athletic Conference, the SWAC. There you go, the SWAC. HBCU, historically black college. There's no I, obviously. So, and then Colorado, what they went to the Pac-12 originally, and then they went to the Big Ten, or when did they join the Big Ten? They weren't in the Big Ten last year when we won the conference. This was their first year in the Big Ten. Yeah, because the Pac-12 imploded. So yeah, they were in the Pac-12 originally. I don't know if they had division or not, but there was only a couple of good Pac-12 teams. There was Washington, there was Oregon. USC was trying to be good, but they were easily beatable. Arizona State, Arizona. Utah was actually pretty good. Utah had a good defense, but their quarterback kept getting injured. But I mean, they struggled though too. It was this year they really did good. And yeah, they're in the Big 12, and yeah, they killed it. He didn't have control over a lot of that. I mean, obviously he could have went and played for someone else. He could have got experience under a different coach or in a different environment. But I mean, why would you do that? It's kind of cool that him and his dad were kind of, linked together from a success standpoint. I mean, if I'm a successful coach, I'll be a successful quarterback. If you're a successful quarterback, I'll be a successful coach. We can't have one really without the other, so let's go get it. And they kind of built like a fucking family football dynasty kind of. It was kind of cool how they paraded and progressed united. I mean, offensive coordinator in high school, ended up winning state championship or something, playing for state championship. He gets a head coaching job, college football. Shadir Sanders, not heavily recruited. People weren't sure about him. Probably kind of the same thing with him being coached by his dad and some limitations on his ceiling. But then his dad gets a head coaching job, so now, boom, you're starting quarterback where no one else was going to give you that opportunity, probably, not at that level. What does he do? He goes out, he kills it. He wins, like, Division 1-2 Player of the Year, HBC Player of the Year, goes undefeated, wins the HBCU Championship. Boom. Colorado's offering you a job. Okay, what are we going to do? Hey, I got to get my quarterback. I got to get my son. I got to get both my sons. And then I got to get my number one recruit, Travis Hunter. That y'all coming with. It's really fucking cool. It's badass. I love all that. That being said, that ain't what's going to happen in the NFL. Travis Hunter's going to go to his own team. Shahir's going to go to his own team. And Deion's going to stay at Colorado. So it's getting broken up. The trust circle, the killer team, and I don't know what Solo Dolo is going to look like with Shadir. He's never really been that. He's had his brothers in high school. He's had his dad in high school. Had his brother and dad in college. He's had Travis Hunter after his freshman year. He's had Travis Hunter the other 3 years. So yeah, that it's a weird thing, but for me that makes me hesitant. I don't know what to make of that. It's not something I've ever encountered, and to be honest with you, I'm okay passing on it. I'm not gonna hold it against him. I mean, he's there in the second round, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he's undraftable, but depends on the team, I guess. I guess I was like, because I got him ranked at 74th, so like, okay, he's there in the second round, but Jackson Dart and Jalen Miller are there too. Am I taking him over them? Probably not. That's the whole point of my big board. Like, I trust them. I like them better. I like their ceiling better. I like their talent better. But Shadir does bring I guess I probably said no. If I'm being honest, I probably Probably wouldn't. I was gonna try to create a scenario, do the marketing or branding, or maybe like negative feedback, or just to avoid controversy, maybe. But like, I'm not letting anything like that. Those outside fucking things dictate how I perform my job. I'm not that kind of cat. I mean, I see the benefits of some of it. You know, I get the excitement. I get you can sell jerseys. I get that it could, help with a different brand. Maybe you inherit some 49er Cowboys fans because they're fans of Dion and his son. I get all that, but like, you know what gets you fans? Winning fucking games. And I'm out here trying to win games, and I believe other individuals give me a better chance to do that personally. So I probably would pass. But like I said, it's not like he's undraftable. I don't have a high grade on any of these guys. I mean, fucking Cam Ward's 35. Then, 58, 59. You go fucking 24 spots before you get, QB, 57, 58, before you get Jackson Dart and Jalen Milrow. And then you go like 15 more spots, I guess. You get Shadir Sanders at 74. So it's like, and that's also just other positions. I mean, it's a big board. It's the running backs, it's the defense tackles, it's the edges, it's the wide receivers, which are probably going to move up now. I gotta readjust this board. Hell, the offensive tackles did really good. Mimbu might be the best offensive tackle in the draft, but this isn't the whole draft thing. This is just about the quarterbacks and how I believe. Yeah, it's like in the top 10 talent, but this is the perfect draft to find. That day two stud. That Jalen Hurts, the Kirk Cousins, maybe Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy. Like, there's going to be a quarterback, probably a couple quarterbacks that are going to have decent NFL careers that aren't going to be in the first round. That are going to end up in the right situation, right spot, going to have time to develop, get an opportunity, and they're going to fucking own it. I can't predict who it is. Maybe after the draft I can, but right now it's just more of a projection and prophecy. Anyways, this video went way too long. It ended up being a fucking hour. I just be talking about nothing sometimes. But yeah, that's roughly all I got. I don't know if a lot of people are voicing those concerns over Shadir Sanders, and it maybe sounds... It's not Shadir Sanders' fault, but at the same time, I like the quarterbacks that, weren't looked after by their father their whole football career. Weren't, kind of coddled or carried, or... It's not a positive, in my opinion. So I'm saying negative things about it. Because I think it is an advantage. I mean, I get it. It's hard, but it's also safe. I mean, your dad's not just gonna fucking cut you. You have to really do something bad. I mean, it's not like not listening, or maybe throwing a helmet because you get a little attitude, you get a little frustrated, you don't like the way he talks to you or he takes you out of the game, and then you got time to cool down, and you're gonna go back and you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm sorry, Dad, I apologize. And your dad's gonna fucking forgive you. I mean, but other coaches and stuff, it's not gonna happen like that. You may hold a grudge. You may, it won't just be in the heat of the moment. It'll be something that's been burrowing and carrying over time, and you might not just let it go over that, and the coach might not either, because you're not related. There's no father-son dynamic. So he hasn't had to deal with that really. And like I said, maybe he dealt with position coaches on that level, but like they were being employed by your father. So it's like it's still not the same dynamic. Like you still kind of had the power. You were in a more powerful position, and it was great because it gave him an opportunity, but it also probably limited him because it maybe didn't give him the ability to grow and develop to a level that some others who had to deal with different kind of coaching and the normal coaching relationship and dynamic. So I hope they all do good. I like all these quarterbacks. I love Cam Ward's story. 0-star recruit. I mean, it's not much different than Shadir Sanders. The only difference is he didn't have his dad. I mean, he went to Incarnate Ward, lit it up, had no offers. Then he goes to Washington State. does good. Washington State ends up not having a conference, so then he's like, "Oh, I'll just go to Miami." Does good. He fucking does good everywhere he goes. And I do like Cam Ward. It's just I don't know. Maybe I could put Cam Ward higher. I was battling back and forth with his fucking rating because I'm trying to compare him to other guys, and I don't know comparably where I put him, but he's fucking good, and I love his story. He's also from Texas, man. 4 of these dudes are Texas high school football players. Fucking go hard, dog. God damn. Hate us because they ain't us, man. Holy shit, man. We fucking do football. We eat, drink, fucking breathe this shit. God damn, we fucking play ball. Get your fucking hate up. Anyways, fucking hour and 15 minutes. Peace out. Hope you enjoyed it. It kind of dragged on. I gotta work on that. And there's no graphics, so it's just me talking about bullshit. It was supposed to be like 20 minutes. I just be yammering. We were shooting out statistics the first half. Maybe I'll delete the first half. I don't know. It's weird shooting out statistics, not putting up graphics. I was just trying to tell a story kind of. Graphics. That's what graphics are there for. But I'm still getting used to this shit. I did like 3 other videos today that kind of had a lot of graphics. So I was trying to do one that touched on something I wanted to touch on, but in a low-key manner, and it was meant to be knocked out the park very quickly, and then I just get the fucking yapping my fucking mouth away talking about fucking whatever the fuck, and hour and 20 minutes later here we are. Anyways, like and subscribe. I love doing this shit. I can talk ball all day. If you like watching it, hey, I'll put content out there for you. Peace out.